Hello and welcome back. Today I wanted to shoot a video that tries to clear up a question that people have asked me a few times. It seems like a while back I reviewed an LGT saber and people asked me, oh, what about Crimson Dawn? Could you review something from Crimson Dawn? And then if I talk about Crimson Dawn, people say, well, what about Darkwolf? Have you ever reviewed anything from Darkwolf or Oz Sabers or any of these other places that are around there? And I keep trying to tell people that basically if I've reviewed one, I've reviewed all of them. So I wanted to shoot this video to kind of explain what LGT is, how it works, and how you're seeing it out in the market right now. So LGT Sabers is a company that basically makes primarily lower-end or base model sabers, eco boards, things that are a lot less expensive than something like, say, a Vader's Vault. They make them very quickly. You get a lot of turnaround. The parts come from China. They're all pretty standardized. So they have things like these cores where one core works in all of their different sabers. You can get sabers that look like Darth Maul or Luke's saber, but you can also get more sort of base customs that are more for use, like this, which is a silver talon, also called an Eldar, made out of their variable hilt configuration parts. All right, so LGT makes all these things, and but they don't really sell them directly. You can get to LGT's main store on Alibaba or Ali.com, which is basically a service very similar to Wish.com, which uses drop shipping, I believe, so the shipping's really cheap, but it takes forever. And LGT has a storefront on there. Their selection on that storefront is pretty slim, actually. They offer a lot of different products, they offer a few parts, but they make a whole lot more than what you see on that storefront. The thing about them is that they are a distributor who uses, they are a manufacturer who uses various distributors. So much like a restaurant might have franchises that buy all their stuff from the main restaurant and then serve it to you and do their own thing, LGT sells the saber parts to these saber companies that pop up that want to start selling lightsabers. And they'll even offer services where these companies can brand them themselves, so they can get their own logo printed on them. And then they end up all over the internet with all kinds of different names for what's essentially the same saber. Now, sometimes there's differences from place to place. Some of these saber companies put put a little twist on the core, install different things, have different sound fonts. Some of them have custom parts that only they have. But basically, LGT is selling them these parts, and then they're reselling the parts and sometimes tinkering with them before they shoot them out the door. All right, now some of the companies that are out there that do this, Darkwolf Sabers is an LGT retailer, Crimson Dawn is an LGT retailer. Those are two of the bigger ones. Outer Rim is an LGT retailer. Outer Rim primarily sells the parts, and they have the widest selection of parts. You're going to find more stuff on there than you're going to find on LGT's main store. So you're going to see these things all over, rebranded with various different names, and by and large, they're the same creature. So LGT uses what they call VHC, or Variable Hilt Configuration parts. Now this is a similar concept to Saberforge's ASP parts, which basically means that any ASP saber, you can take a part off of it, put it on any other ASP saber. Custom Saber Shop and Ultra Sabers use MHS, or modular hilt system, or something like that, slapping different names on it, but basically what it means is that you take a part off of one, you can put it on another. For the LGT stuff, usually what they have is they have pommel sections, and I could take this pommel off, put it on any other. They have grip sections. I could take this grip section off, put it on any other. They have switch sections, which is just this section right here, and they have emitters. Okay, sometimes with sabers like this one, which is on Crimson Dawn called an Eldar and on Darkwolf called a Silver Talon, sometimes those two sections are fused, but a lot of times they're separate and they unscrew. All right, inside this we have a saber core, or a removable chassis. Okay, they make them in NeoPixel, they make them in baselit, they make them in Profi. Some of the saber manufacturers, like I think Crimson Dawn is talking about making some Golden Harvest ones, so they're basically getting the parts and making their own in-house that fit in all of these sabers. So there is some variety from company to company, but by and large they're using a lot of the same base parts. All right, so they use this saber core, and then you pop the saber core out of a saber and pop another one in or into a different saber or whatever. So if you actually get empties, you could have just one of these that you like and pop it in a saber as you're about to use it. Or you can have a few of these, like a base slit model for ripper blades and then a NeoPixel model for fancy NeoPixel animations, so that you can pop them out and pop them in when you need them. Now these parts I would mention also, their NeoPixel setup is compatible with both the Pox Store and the War Sabers adapters. So if I take that NeoPixel adapter, like this one right here is the War Sabers. This would work on this to turn this NeoPixel into a Tricrete. So they're pretty versatile. They're pretty. They play pretty well with other things. They don't really fit anybody else's threads very well. Sometimes with like a Kybers or a Pox Store, you can get them to fit kind of, but I wouldn't recommend it. But anyhow, that's what we're dealing with when we're dealing with LGT. So reviewing a Crimson Dawn saber, reviewing a Darkwolf saber, it's basically the same saber, sometimes with a few different tweaks. It's difficult to understand what's going on because a lot of saber companies, like Vire, I think was carrying these. Vire was pretty upfront, saying, "Oh yeah, we're carrying LGT products." Some companies like DX Sabers got in trouble because they were not. They were saying, "Oh, we're manufacturing everything ourselves," and then you look at the parts and it all came from LGT. So some of the companies are upfront, some of the companies are deceptive, some of the companies just don't mention one way or another what they're doing. But if you start seeing the same thing coming from all different places, you're dealing with either an LGT or there's another company out there that does this. The stuff that you see at Pox Store and YDD Sabers is basically the same thing, operating in a similar way. But LGT has really sort of shot stuff out there all over the market. So a lot of it right now is them. All right. Hopefully this hopefully this explanation rather has been of use to you guys. Helps you understand a little bit about what's going on and what you're seeing out there. If it has been, join me back for more videos, and I'll see you next time.